Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Moleski, and this is my YouTube channel. Today we have Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson. You know him, right? I'm sure many of my audience listens to you.
Amazing.
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
And we are at the Men's Convention, 21 Convention in Orlando. And I just have, listen, I'm no interviewer. My audience knows that. I have little conversations with people, but I just have a few questions for you. Because this channel is specifically meant for women. My question to you, what can women do to help assist in the chaos of the world right now and help men return to their natural, unangry state? Or, better yet, what is men's natural state and how can women participate in getting them back to it?
What women can do is to obey their husbands and love him and obey him. And when he's away, watch over his children for him. Make sure the house is clean,
Yes.
you know, what a woman does. And when the kids come home, she can be there for the kids. When the husband comes home, the husband comes home, she can let him know what happened during the day, you know, what the kids are going through, what she's going through. Then the father can get with the kids and the wife and resolve the issues that they dealt with that day. The woman's job is to follow her husband as he followed Christ. And nothing else is going to work but that. So she's like the vice president, he's the president.
Yes.
Yeah.
It seems to me that there are a lot of, you can say beta, I'll just say weaker men or just not up to the standard that they could be. And women find themselves married to these men.
Yeah.
Do you think that following them as they are in their unnatural state, when they're kind of out of disproportion with themselves and God, that that's still good counsel? Does it still resonate to follow a husband who's off track?
As long as she doesn't resent him. But what happens when women tend to resent a man's weakness, and so she take it out on him. She try to control him, but she want him to be the light. She want her to be strong. And so she has a love-hate relationship for him. And if he try to break away, she'll draw him back in. But when she draws him back in, she hates him for it. And so the best thing for women to do is overcome that. Because most women end up repeating what their mothers have done. And so they end up with the same kind of man that the mothers ended up with. Where the man become the boy and the wife become the mother, right? So women are marrying their mothers.
Yes.
So, because what is not talked about is that women hate their mothers too. Because the mothers turn the girls, as their little girls, away from their fathers toward her. And so they become just like their mothers. And they tend to repeat the cycle. And they're not themselves, they're their mothers.
Does a woman, in your estimation, does a woman always do that?
Only those who have grown up close to their fathers and not the mother, they will not do it. Because when you love your father, you love what's right. But those who have not grown up close to their father, they can't help themselves. They have to do it.
And then to recover from that, it seems to me that your message to most people is to forgive mother, number one.
Yes.
Why are people so afraid to do that?
Because
mom's so scary.
Yeah. They're afraid of their mothers. It's like dealing with King Kong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the reason they're afraid of it because they resent her. They have anger toward the mother. And whomever you're angry at controls you. You become subject to them. And so the women can't face it, but the best thing for them to do is to face their mother. And they're going to shake in the boots, but they need to face her so that they can get their courage back and overcome her. And then they will finally become themselves the way they were before the mother traumatized them.
You would think, no, I would think that to be towards something good, a good end goal, that people would be running towards it.
Yeah.
But they seem to be running from it. Is that just evil on earth? Is that what that looks like?
It is evil. See, Satan is the author of this world. And all those who have not been born again of the Spirit, those who have been born, we're all born of the mother. So we're dying. We're earthy. We're low in consciousness. But those who are born of the Spirit of the Father, return to the Father, you raise, your consciousness level goes up and you're able to see. And so you will be in the world but not of it. There's a new world within us, a kingdom of heaven.
And you found this, you had been, I heard you speak
Yes.
at the women's convention, and you said that you wanted to be a son of God.
Yes.
So you were seeking a church that could inspire you to do so or guide you in that way.
And to guide me to be a son of God, yes.
And it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Uh-huh.
Because the preachers are all mamas too. They have not overcome their mothers. And so they'll learn the Bible, they'll read the Bible, they'll quote it, they'll hoop and holler about it, and they'll convince you that the Bible is the Word of God. But the Bible is not the Word of God. The Bible is the Word from God. The Word of God is in our hearts. And the Bible is inspired by men to get the message out there, be a witness to the truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they wrote it down. The Bible is a roadmap back to the kingdom of heaven within. But the problem is people believe in the Bible, and that's where it stops.
Yeah.
Because whatever you believe in controls you. And we're only supposed to believe in God, nothing else.
I feel like we should be looking at the camera. I'm really bad at this.
Yeah, that's why I turn around sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. And we don't. Yeah. Yeah. I really like that. Okay. So you found this way, this method. I hate to say method. The Lord spoke to you 30 years ago. Was that about the time frame?
It was 31 years ago, and then I started Bond a year later.
And was it at that moment when you forgave your mother that some like clouds parted, or was it a graduation, a slow graduation, or?
Well, what happened was when he allowed me to see that I resented my mother, that I had this anger, right then I woke up.
Yeah.
But when I went and forgave her to face her, I got my courage back, overcame the fear because I overcame the anger when I faced my mother. From that point, I've had no problem since.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
Well, I only wanted to take a little bit of Jesse's time, Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson.
Jesse's fine.
Okay.
I'm just Jesse.
Okay.
A lot of times, the reason I mention that because people in a fallen state, they use titles to control you. Mm-hmm. They say Reverend, preacher, pastor, bishop, doctor, lawyer, psychiatrist, counselor, because they want control over you. Their title make them seem important to someone who don't understand, so they control you with that. But in reality, we're all the same. We're just people. Some in a fallen state, some have overcome. But there's nothing special about us.
Well, I think there's something special about you. But that's just coming from me, the mama. So I appreciate I appreciate you coming on today, and I appreciate my viewers. I'm interested in what your fear is, and if you think he's off base. A lot of people do. A lot of people are like, absolutely. I don't want to talk to my mom. No, it's not my mom. It's women or men or whatever it is. So I'm just interested in what you have to say about this quick little conversation. And thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome. But at one point I want to make, because most people have anger. They have anger. They're afraid. And the only reason that you're afraid is because you've fallen away from the Father. And you have anger. And anyone who has anger has fear. They have doubt.
Yes.
They have worry, insecurity. They are stressed out, so they get cancer, all kind of diseases, because you've fallen away from love, from the light. But when you go and face your mother, it's going to be the hardest thing in the world you ever had to do. But when you go and face her, forgive her. They say, hey, I'm sorry for resenting you. You were evil. You turned me away from my Father. But I realized you could not help yourself. And if she admit it, fine. If she doesn't, fine, right? You forgive her, God will forgive you. That's why he said, before you enter into the kingdom of heaven within, you must go and forgive. So go and forgive her. You're going to shake in your boot. Really. You'd rather face Hitler, right? But once you do it, you would never have fear again, because the anger would disappear. You take the anger away. So you would never have fear, doubt, worry, or any of that stuff. You will have perfect peace.
And it seems to me that the language that you use is what repels a lot of people. Like, to tell your mother that she's evil. And I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, it's such a bold thing to say.
Yeah.
Whether you accept it or not, I'm curious as to the people who are listening or watching, what it is within you that makes you repel the message immediately. Like if it's a knee-jerk reaction, why are you doing that? Is there any truth at all? And if there's not, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But I'm just curious for the people who are a little...
And they don't have to use the word evil. They can say, you know what? You turned me away from my Father. You imposed your will on me. You were controlling, or you acted all nice, but you still controlled me. And I resented you for it. And I become like you because we become like who we're angry at, right? And so they don't have to as a matter of fact, don't plan what you're going to say. Just wait for that moment and the words will come. They'll come. You might not have to say but 1 or 2 words. So, but if you live in your head, and most people do,
Yes.
Satan tell you, oh, don't do it. That's your mother. She's going to get angry. She'll start crying. Whatever she does is on her.
Yeah.
You just, whatever, when she start acting out, she really just trying to control you. She doesn't want to let go. And so let her act out, but you forgive and go your way.
What about people who want to just like write a letter? Like, here,
No.
Mom. Okay, what's the difference?
If you write a letter, you're
Yeah.
not going to overcome. So you have to get your courage back. So that's why you got to face her. You can't become a good matador unless you deal with the bull, right? And so you're not going to get your courage back until you face her. And if you can't visit with her, you can do it on FaceTime, or,
Okay.
but you want to be looking at her. Anyone who writes a letter is a coward.
It's like writing an essay compared to going and doing the thing.
Yeah. It's taking a cowardly way out, and you will not be able to overcome. God said, go and forgive. He didn't say write a letter, make a phone call, or tell Aunt Jenny to tell Martha. You got to go and face so you can get your courage back. And just like men have their mother's identity, women have their mother's identity too. They are not themselves.
So where does the man come into this? I mean, where does the father come in and start to control the character of his children?
The father, because of the spiritual order of God in Christ, Christ in man, man over woman, and woman over children, the father's over the mother.
Yes.
He's the head of his wife.
Yeah.
So he's supposed to stand between the children and the mother so that she doesn't traumatize that. So when he's away at work or wherever he's at, goes, when he come home, his children should tell him how the mother treated them that day. And in front of the children, he should correct the mother with perfect love. Not with anger, but with perfect love. And the kids would see that, and they would say, oh, Mom is the one that's the mean one. Dad is the one with the love. And they will stay toward their fathers, and they will have amazing life.
Can you give me an example or kind of play it out with perfect love? So we're married, and the report comes in that I don't know. I mean, I swore at my children.
Right.
And I scolded them.
Yes.
How would you correct me with perfect love?
Number one, I would tell you, I'm living right now, but I would tell you, hey, you got to stop yelling at my children. Don't yell at them. If there's an issue, just let them know you're going to tell the father. Dad going to handle this when you get home. And the kids will love you for that because they will see you respect the father. And because you respect the father, they will respect the father as well. And then they will feel safe because they know the father is going to look out for them. So, and then let your wife know, I will let my wife know, you need to get over the anger. You're not yourself. Go and forgive your mother. Forgive your father for not, because once you do that, then you're going to develop perfect peace as well. And so when I'm away, the kids who with you, they will experience love rather than hate. And love is not something you can feel, taste, or touch. It's not emotion. It's a light. It's shining like the lights are shining here. It's a light that shines from within. It allows you to see and to overcome and not overreact. And you see that, even the mean person can't help themselves because they're in a fallen state. They cannot see. So you won't hate them for what they're doing.
And everyone's overreacting now.
Everybody. Because they're in that fallen state. The men have...
Some of you commenters are overreacting right now.
That's right. They can't help it. So that's why now that I can see, I don't hold it against them. I realize they just can't see.
Yeah.
It's not personal. Even though they feel like they were taking it out on me, it's really this thing inside of them that hate the truth, causing them to resent.
I was actually thinking about that a couple weeks ago. I was thinking about the madness of the world.
Yeah.
And like, it is possible, I don't want to be negative, but it's possible it could all be taken down. Like, this country could be absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
And I will fight tooth and nail
That's right.
for it. But at the end, it's like the people that will destroy us are compelled by something. I guess what I want to say is I understand what Jesus said. Forgive them, they know not what they do.
Right. That's right. So what's so nice is Christ came and he created a new world. God created a new world through Christ, but he hid it inside of us. Mm-hmm. And only those who are seeking him will find it. He's not going to let anyone in who has anger, but because anger is hatred. They just changed the word and down through history, right? Like they changed all evil words. Anger is hatred, and anyone who has hatred is playing God because they're judging their fellow man or fellow woman. They resent them for what they are, so they're judging. They're not able to discern it. You have to be able to see injustice, but don't hate injustice.
Yeah.
You're discerning it and you're protected from it. But when you hate what you see, you become like that.
Yeah.
And so this new world, the kingdom of heaven, is inside, and you cannot get in until you go and forgive. Stop playing God. Then you can enter into this kingdom, and you will be in this world. Everybody be crazy, overreacting, hating one another, killing, robbing, raping, murdering, stealing, and blaming white folk for the problem when white people has nothing to do with it. Black Lives Matter come along, you find yourself dealing to lesbians, right? And so, black, fat, radical lesbians at that. That's even worse. But inside of you, you're in that kingdom now, and you're in it, but you can't even overreact to it. You have no fear about it. You have a natural faith that all is well for you because God is looking out for his own.
Do you think that when most people, this will be my last question.
No problem.
Do you think that when people finally do the prescription of your counsel and ask and forgive, do you ever see in those moments that their life takes on a new everything?
Absolutely. They become a new person. They're no longer that old person in the fallen state. They're a brand new person because now they have life. They have love. They have everything they need. Everything is provided for you. You definitely become a new person.
That sounds good.
Yeah. And so, I hear Christians say the world coming to an end, and it might, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the children of God are protected from whatever going to happen or is happening. And I believe, and I don't know yet, but men and women are waking up now around the world. And I believe that is to save the world, keep the world from totally destroying itself. Because Christ came, because in the Old Testament, the people had no way out. No one did. God said, okay, if you can find me 10 people who love me, I'll save the world, right? They couldn't find 10.
Really?
Yeah. And he went down, and I think he went all the way down to 2 or 3.
Bad marketing.
No. He couldn't find, but now that people are waking up and God's Spirit is working through them, I think the world may be saved as a result. Most people won't, because most people are taking that wide road that leads to destruction, and some are taking that narrow road that leads to life, right? And that narrow road, the people who are taking the narrow road, I believe, going to save the world, because greater is He that's in us than he that's in the world.
I think that sounds very nice. And I don't want to be like a poser in front of you because I'm...
No, you could be a poser. What is a poser?
Oh, a poser is someone who pretends. So I'm not...
Oh.
I don't know how I feel about God, but there's something nutritious about it.
Yeah. Did you go and forgive your mother?
No.
Why not?
Well, because it's like, so I want to say, I'm compelled to say that I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And then I also have to like find what I would be forgiving her for, because I don't have a lot of angst.
It doesn't take much.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Let me know how it goes.
I will.
Okay. Amazing.
I knew that this would turn out into a Jennifer Moleski expose. but I'm okay with that. So thank you so much for talking to me.
You're welcome. It was fun.
It was fun.
It was amazing.
I feel like I like you pretty well. So
Same
thank you.
here.
Yeah, cool.
It was absolutely amazing.
Okay, we'll tune in again, and everyone will talk to you another day. Okay.
Oh.
What?
You want me to give out my website?
Oh yeah.
Oh, check us out at rebuildingtheman.com, rebuildingtheman.com, or jesseleepeterson.com. All right? jesseleepeterson.com.
Do it.
Thank you, Nick.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you.
That's it.
Amazing. That was that.
Yeah.